Hey guys, Thrasher here. The Imperial Advent banner is out, and with it, this guy right here, Kid Gohan. Let's talk about him right now. Okay, so Kid Gohan is a yellow melee damage dealer. He's a very, very durable unit, and he's bordering on a full tank. So he's not truly a tank, he doesn't have any actual tank abilities, but his stats are very, very defense heavy. Outside of that, his strike attack is massive, and all of his actual abilities are set up to increase his strike damage. The big thing about Kid Gohan is he is built from the ground up to have a Piccolo on his team. So however you use him, however you have him set up, you are not utilizing him to his fullest potential if there's not a Piccolo on your active team. So that's just something to keep in mind. He's still viable on other teams without Piccolo, but he's meant for Piccolo. So let's go into his abilities and kind of take a look at him real quick. Like I said, he is a melee damage dealer. His main ability increases his strike arts cards by 50%. When utilizing that with these other abilities that we're going to look at in a second, he can tear down almost any unit in a matter of a couple strike arts cards. Outside of, say, a red card where he has type disadvantage, most of the time he can 2 to 3 strike arts cards an opponent if they're of similar level and soul boosting. The Z ability is not super helpful right now. It really only helps Kid Gohan. There's not a lot of other units that this is really good for that would be on a Kid Gohan team anyway. So right now this isn't super helpful within the meta outside of actually giving Kid Gohan himself more health. And as you'll see from a team I'm going to show you here in a second that I'm building with Kid Gohan, this still does help because he's going to get super tanky in a minute. Okay, so these two unique abilities right here, the first one, he does more damage when he does more strike damage specifically when no one on the team is dead yet. Now, the other thing is his strike damage is going to go down when someone dies, but if that someone who dies is Piccolo, it's going to go up even more. So if you have Piccolo on your team, which you should with Kid Gohan, the main thing you want to keep in mind is make sure my Piccolo dies first. So whatever your specific game plan is, make sure that I lose Piccolo before I lose Gohan, because if I lose Piccolo, my Gohan is going to be pumping out massive damage. And I have tested this. I will show you on a team here in a minute. This does not stack. So if you have Kid Gohan and 2 Piccolos that you're fighting with and both Piccolos die, it doesn't give you 70%. I was hoping that it would, because that would be, well, maybe not, because it'd be very broken, but I was hoping that I could try to utilize that as a specific tactic. A double Piccolo team does work well. I will show you in just a second. So that's pretty much how he works. He's meant to be with Piccolo. Piccolo's meant to die first, and then he just pumps out damage because he gets mad. On the stats side, we don't really need to go through a lot here. He is near the very top end. I think there are 3 cards, or maybe, I think there's 3 cards that have more health than Kid Gohan right now. That's Piccolo, Broly, and I think Captain Ginyu has more health. Strike attack, he's a monster. His strike attack is massive. He doesn't hit for anything with blast attack. You should only be using strike attacks with Kid Gohan. Here's the other thing to keep in mind when using him and when setting up a team is, even though he is strike based, he's meant to do all strike damage, no blast damage. He brings blast cards. So as you're fighting and cards get generated at the bottom of your screen randomly, there's a higher chance that they're going to be blast cards because Kid Gohan is on your team. So that works against him. So you want to make sure whatever other 2 units you're bringing to fight with Kid Gohan are bringing at the minimum at least 1 strike arts card, but hopefully 2 instead of the 2 blast cards here, because that does not help Kid Gohan at all. So that's sort of how he works. Let me back out here real quick and show you the team that I'm working on for him. So one of the things that people have been talking about recently is we're getting very close to being able to run mono color teams, so single color teams, and this is almost a single color yellow team. So the way I have this set up, all of these characters buff the yellow units, and then the green Piccolo is just there because he doesn't need buffing. He's a great tank without any buffs whatsoever. This yellow Piccolo right here will increase regen. So if you run, go over to abilities, Z ability, yellow health restoration. So what that means is anytime that a yellow unit on the team increases their health in some way, whether it's a Piccolo health main ability health increase, if you somehow had like a if you had, say, a Frieza who's yellow and he restores his own health with his special skill, that would increase the amount he restores by 20%. So that is helpful, especially since we have 2 units on this team if we run it a certain way that can heal the whole team. So normally the way I've been running this when I'm testing it is I will run Kid Gohan, the Sparking Piccolo, which is this one, and then the Extreme Piccolo. And that's because Kid Gohan gets the 20% strike damage buff when both the Piccolos are alive, and then when one of the Piccolos dies, no matter which one it is, his damage goes up to 35% instead of 20%. So no matter who ends up dying, as long as it's not Kid Gohan, then Kid Gohan will be stronger in battle. Now what you can do if you feel like you're not getting enough oomph on your team, or say for some reason you need to really knock down a unit fast, you can switch out the Extreme Piccolo with the Pikkon down here. The Pikkon and the Cybermen both give increased base health to all yellow units, and then this Yamcha right here is increasing the strike defense. So you already have a massively tanky team. Everyone up here is super tanky, even if you switch out the Piccolo for the Pikkon. The Pikkon is not technically a tank unit, but he's probably the 3rd most, if not 2nd most durable unit in the game who is not of defense type. So this team can sit there, take damage all day long. Both of the Piccolos will heal your team by 25% and 20% respectively, and actually a little bit more than that because of the yellow Piccolo Z ability, and the Gohan will continue to pump out strike damage. So this team can be extremely powerful. The only thing you need to worry about is if you run up against a red unit. That's really the kryptonite of this team, and in that case I would say probably switch out the yellow Piccolo for the yellow Pikkon. And the plan there is Pikkon's still not going to do great damage to a red unit like a Super Saiyan Goku, but what you can do is sort of switch between the Gohan and the Pikkon, and you can be fairly evasive with your vanishing steps because you have 2 units that can really do damage, and switch between vanishing steps, whereas before what you would have is Gohan who's doing damage, and then you vanishing step with both Piccolos, but then you've got to get back to the Gohan to really do damage again. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you have a red unit that you're facing with this specific team, you need to save your Rising Rush for the red unit, and you need to save all of your big hitting combinations for the red unit, because he's the one that you have to take out. Once the red unit is gone, this team is so tanky and heals so much that no one else should really bother you. You should be able to essentially turtle your way through it, no problem whatsoever. And that's really all there is to Kid Gohan. He is a great unit. Make sure you pair him up with a Piccolo if you can. If not, he can still work on an all-yellow team like this. Hopefully he can stay in the meta for quite a while. I think as long as Piccolo stays in the meta, which I think is going to be for quite a long time, Gohan is still a great unit to have, and he, like I said, they synergize extremely well. So that's pretty much my review of Kid Gohan and how he works, a team that you can use him on right now. If you guys have any questions, make sure to throw them down in the comments. I'll make sure to respond. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.